works with a view to ensuring public safety. The Emergency Control Center of the Geotechnical Engineering Office of the CNDD will continue to operate to deal with all cases of possible or confirmed landslides. The 18 district officers have visited places affected by the flood, and they have dealt with landslips and road collapses and other difficulties. And together with the Highways Department, they have speeded up to remove miscellaneous items at homes and also at various places. And emergency shelters are opened for needy members of the public. And the Secretary for Civil Service has also activated the mobilization protocol for civil servants. So far, a few hundreds civil servants from different departments have put together a quick response team. They've been to non-district, Taipo district, the Eastern district, as well as the Southern district to provide support. The work includes the following: clearance of road surfaces. They go to temporary shelters to provide assistance to people affected by the rainfall. For places hard hit by the flood, the administration will carry out interdepartmental coordination to speed up emergency support and services to help people affected by the rain. For instance, there was landslip at Shackle Road, and the CNED has put together supplies and evacuation operation. And the Highways Department has also coordinated emergency repair to road surface. After emergency maintenance work, one traffic lane was opened last night. Starting from this morning, some double-deck buses are now running on Shackle Road. The single-deck buses are already doing that, and emergency repair works is being done at full steam. Now, for the next step, we have to raise with time when it comes to the emergency work. All departments will work under the instruction of the chief executive. They will take care of things that members of the public are concerned about most, so that we can resume normal operation as soon as possible. Tomorrow is a school day and also a work day. The government will pay particular attention to our transport and traffic conditions and make appropriate responses. The Transport Department will activate its emergency events coordination center to monitor these public transport services together with contractors and government departments. They will closely monitor the situation. Depending on the needs, the government will continue to mobilize civil servants from different departments to enhance organization work in different districts. The HAD, together with the care teams, and they will mobilize local forces, and they will closely liaise with different departments to provide necessary assistance to members of the public who need it. I now give the floor to my colleagues to brief you on what they have done under their respective portfolios. Thank you.
Secretary for Transport and Logistics will now have the floor. In light of the torrential rain in Thursday and Friday last week, leading to different road incidents, on the evening of Thursday, the Highways Department initiated the Emergency Coordination Center to monitor the situation. When circumstances permit, when the conditions were safe, we've asked the contractors to clear road blockage and debris. And as of last night, the Highways Department already repaired 80 sections of roads with blockages caused by flooding and other situations. In terms of emergency repair of roads, we have regard to the road situation and accord priorities to conduct emergency repairs, also having regard to whether there are alternative routes for residents. In terms of Shek O Road, under the efforts of our works teams, after works were carried out this morning, one traffic lane has resumed operation and single-decker buses can now run on the roads. There are other sections of roads, including Stubbs Road, the section of road near St. Stephen's Bay, the section of road near Mount Nicholson, and also Linsing Road in Chai Wan. According to our latest estimates, except for Yu Hing Road, when the weather permits, before citizens set out for work and for school, at least one traffic lane will be opened for use. Now, as for the landslip in Yu Hing Road, the landslide is of a larger scale with a more serious consequence, and we will assess the situation and conduct follow-up work. The 3 bus routes plying Yu Hing Estate will continue to provide service with alternative routes, and residents that can make use of shuttle service to go to MTR stations. Some border checkpoints are now closed, and some bus routes are now suspended. But other than that, the other boundary crossing points and bus services will resume normal operation tomorrow. As for Kwun Tong and Wong Tai Sin Station, one exit is still closed at the moment, but otherwise they are by and large in normal operation. We will continue with our follow-up work. The government department will continue to carry out repairs to minimize impact to the public. The Transport Department's Emergency Transport Coordination Center will start this work at 5 a.m. tomorrow to closely monitor public transport services, and we will maintain close liaison with the service operators. Secretary for Development. Good afternoon. I'd like to report to members of the public about the Development Bureau's work in 3 aspects. First, I'd like to report on our follow-up work on certain incidents. Second, our proactive inspection efforts after the torrential rain. And third, in terms of slope maintenance and repair and our relevant arrangements. Now, in terms of the handling of incidents, as pointed out by the Chief Secretary for Administration, 60 confirmed cases of flooding have been reported as a result of the torrential rain. Follow-up work has been conducted. The sites concerned have been cleared. Now, we have received some sporadic cases of street flooding because of continuous rain, but we believe that they can be cleared in due course. Now, for the Drainage Services Department, they take action as usual. Every time after rainfall, they will proactively inspect river channels and drainage and clear up debris. As for landslips, as of noon today, the Geotechnical Engineering Office received 75 cases of landslips. Our colleagues at the very first instance set out to inspect the slopes. Now, 54 out of the 75 incidents have been assessed, and we have formulated a plan on the follow-up work required for these slopes. In these landslide incidents, 19 of them involved full road closure, or at one point the roads were fully closed. Now these roads are only partially closed or they are fully opened. 6 cases involved evacuation of residents. Now, some of the major incidents involve Cha Kuo Ling village, and the area has been reopened. Now, for 5 remaining cases, they are respectively in Red Hill Peninsula, Lo Wu, Pectin village in Shatin, and also Clearwater Bay. The areas involve low-rise structures. Some 20 residents had to be evacuated. We will continue to inspect the slopes, and only when the situation becomes safe will the area concerned be reopened. Now let me turn to proactive inspections. That means we proactively inspect slopes, trees, especially trees at the side of roads heavily plied by traffic and by pedestrians. We'll also inspect the relevant slopes. In fact, we started work in this aspect yesterday. We've involved different government departments. At this moment, we are concentrating manpower resources to make an all-out effort so as to inspect high-risk areas. We'll strive to complete this task as quickly as possible and conduct follow-up. But I'd like to make this appeal to everyone in Hong Kong that you should cooperate with the government, because in circumstances of extreme weather, our trees and slopes have, after all, absorbed a large amount of rainwater, and there is an inherent risk. And before the proactive inspection effort by the government, members of the public should stay vigilant. They should stay away from slopes, and they should refrain from staying under trees for a prolonged period of time. Now, if danger is envisaged, the citizen concerned should ring the government hotline. We will take follow-up action as quickly as possible. Finally, I'd like to explain our arrangements in terms of drainage and channel maintenance. We have a hilly terrain with a lot of slopes, and Hong Kong is situated in a region frequently struck by typhoons, and that happens every year. Many years ago, we started our work in maintaining our drainage system. In fact, I would say that we are in a leading position around the world in terms of the drainage system, since we are in this geographical location. But on this occasion, we have experienced a rainfall unseen in 500 years. We believe we're able to control the flooding situation, and that is because of the good fundamentals we have. At the same time, climate change is a common problem faced by the human race. You may have read in media reports that different regions, different places around the world are frequently flooded. We need to, therefore, make advanced preparations. In 2022, the Drainage Services Department started a study on the design of our drainage system. Taking this hypothesis of having an extreme weather several hundred years down the road, how should our drainage design cope with the extremities? Now, we've started the study. In the second half of 2024, we expect the study to be completed. So we are making advanced preparations. As for flooding black spots, through years of efforts, we have reduced the number of black spots from 120 to 4. Instead, in terms of slope maintenance, every year, the government commits $1.9 billion to maintain man-made and natural slopes. It is a continuous work for us because of changes in the natural environment, in particular natural slopes. So we will keep a close eye and continue to take follow-up action. I just want to reassure the public that the government does have advanced planning. That's all from me.
及生態局局長。
大家好。喺呢度，我向大家報告一下個電力供應同埋食物供應兩個方面嘅。喺電力供應方面呢， 喺暴雨嘅期間呢，港燈呢曾經係有約莫3000嘅用戶呢係受到影響嘅。中電方面呢，亦都有呢約莫呢300個用戶呢係受到影響嘅。咁所有嘅搶修工作呢，琴晚係已經係完成㗎啦。咁當中呢，石澳村同埋呢個嘅大浪灣村啊，有少
All maintenance works was completed last night, and then for Tai Long Wan village, for a while, power supply was affected. However, staff of Hong Kong Electricity traveled by sea through Shako Bay to the village, and power supply was resumed for all households yesterday. So all those who had a power blackout during the floods have now been sorted out. And as for food supplies, because of the extreme conditions situation, there was suspension of import of porks, but that has been resumed. And because of suspension of Men Kam To port, all vehicles carrying live produce in Hong Kong were diverted to Lok Ma Chau into Hong Kong, and the food for food safety has emergency arrangement with the Hong Kong Customs. They have deployed staff to Man Kam To complex, and there is a food inspection station set up there, so all live produce can be cleared by the Center for Food Safety at Man Kam To, so supply of food to Hong Kong has not been affected at all. Secretary for Security, to better coordinate among policy bureaus and departments in the flood work after the rain. Well, after the black rainstorm warning was off, our emergency support center continued to operate. At the last PC, I reported to you the number of requests received by the police and also the Fire Services Department. The police received 132, and the FSC received 443 requests for help during the torrential rain. There were road slips and then also road surface collapses, but most of the cases were tree collapses, people stranded in lifts, etc. All these have been addressed. Now for the auxiliary services team and also the civil aid team have also helped. We have fully mobilized the police to assist, and also the CS and also the AMS have together deployed about 300 members to help in rescue and evacuation work, including the operation in Chakoling, Leyu, Moon, and also Shako, and various strategic locations in Hong Kong. The CS and AMS have people to be on standby all the time. Yesterday, there was an evacuation operation at Shako. In the morning yesterday, we received a request for assistance to provide supplies and telecommunication supplies, and also facilities, and also people to repair the telecom and power facilities into Shako, and our government flying services was also on standby. Shortly in the afternoon, we received an assistance from the Home Affairs Department. The evacuation operation was needed because the road was blocked. So we built a pontoon, and around 3 p.m. it was completed to arrange for villages affected to be evacuated. About 200 residents indicated the intention to be evacuated, and eventually only 120 or so of them were evacuated. We completed our operation at about 6 p.m. The last group of residents were evacuated by then, and because the road was still blocked, we set up a temporary command center. We had staff from FSC, from the police, CAS, AMS to be on standby overnight. In the early hours, the one lane of Shackle Road was reopened, but we still had staff members remaining there to offer assistance if need be. Secretary for Home and Youth Affairs, some figures in the past few days. Starting from the evening of the 7th of September, HAD has opened 17 temporary shelters. Cumulatively, about 456 members of the public have stayed in the shelters. The HAD has assisted in major evacuation operations. On the 7th of September, when the black rainstorm warning was on, we went to various villages hard hit by the flood in the northern districts. We assisted residents to evacuate. We arranged traffic facilities for the evacuation. At the peak, 233 villages stayed in a community hall of Lin Hui. It was a temporary shelter in Fanling, and some villages were diverted to Yunlong and Taipo temporary shelters. And on the 8th of September in the evening, we took part in an evacuation operation in Chakoling, because there was a major landslip there. About 200 villages were evacuated. We opened our temporary shelters again. We opened Lamtin Community Hall as an extra temporary shelter, and of course we took part in the evacuation operation yesterday on the 9th. The S4S already give you the details. In the past few days, we have mobilized all our staff in all 18 district offices. All our staff members have taken part in the operation, and with also cross-district deployment. Some staff were deployed to other districts more severely affected by the extreme conditions to help the clear-up work. Take Lin Hui Community Hall as example. There have been more residents staying there, and so we have assistance from the Social Welfare Department in providing services. And of course, in temporary shelters, we provide all emergency materials and supplies. They're provided by staff of SWD and district offices. We provided food and dry clothing and medication and some daily necessities. We understand that people are most concerned that their homes have been damaged by the flood, such as school uniform and new textbooks of the children, so they may need emergency support. As I mentioned yesterday, we have different emergency relief funds operated by the government for different types of needs, and they are vetted by different government departments. As I said yesterday, in order that members of the public can receive timely assistance, we have this consensus among as we will expedite and deal with all cases expeditiously. District officers will help people to apply for different funds, because apart from government funds, we've also got assistance from other charitable organizations. So for members of the public affected, the most important thing for them is how to apply for assistance and when help will come. We ensure that they receive timely assistance. We will assist them to apply for such assistance, and we've already come to a consensus to expedite the processing of such applications so that they can receive help as soon as possible. And after we've received news that in a particular district there is landslip or road collapse, we will inform relevant departments. The chief executive has also activated the mobilization protocol for civil servants. Colleagues have helped. Yesterday they went to the North District, today to the Taipo District, the Eastern District, and the Southern District. Our district care teams have also fully mobilized. For instance, the care team in the southern district are also residents of Sheko village, so relied on them for timely information of the situation in Sheko village so that we could have full grasp of the situation and handle the situation promptly. And we've also got care teams from the Southern District going to the Eastern District to provide service. And in different districts, we have volunteer groups. For instance, when water was expanded in Leitong Estate, different volunteer groups went there to supply water and other supporting services to the residents there. Because the rain has continued even today, so our rescue work will not stop. We'll continue to closely monitor situation in the district. Say, for example, the Secretary for Security mentioned Lower Estate, our Undersecretary, and also the district officer, together with Works Department, have been to Lawvu Village to look at the situation. The landslip there has severely affected villages. When there is an incident like this, our Works Department will enter the site and deal with the landslip first, and then, depending on the needs and also the situation of the community, will deploy appropriate people such as professionals from the construction sector to clear the debris, etc. So we will provide timely and also appropriate assistance to our villages.
Acting Secretary for Education, good afternoon. As far as the follow-up work is concerned, the Education Bureau has been liaising with schools. We've received 117 reports from schools about damage of the campuses. We've also dispatched officers to the relevant schools to carry out repairs, such as clearing the blocked drains and clearing the soil and runoffs to the school playgrounds. We also checked the equipment and also the transformer rooms which have been damaged by floods. There is one school which requires spare parts to be delivered for the repair of the transformation or for the transformer rooms. The remaining 116 schools have completed repair works. Tomorrow is a school day, and school can be resumed for all of them. As of 4 p.m. today, we have received 10 schools, including primary schools, kindergartens, with campuses being affected or damaged by the runoffs and debris or floods, and that follow-up work and clearance is needed. Therefore, face-to-face classes cannot be resumed tomorrow. For these schools, they have made alternative arrangements, such as online classes. They've also notified relevant parents and students. For cross-boundary students, as Liantang, Hangyunwai, BCP, and Mankamto BCP are now suspended, other routes will have to be, or land boundary crossing points will have to be used, and the schools have arranged for students to cross the boundary via Wangang. We have also informed the parents and students of the latest cross-boundary arrangements, and when they come in for school tomorrow. It is of utmost importance that the parents, teachers, and students are safe. We'll continue to liaise with the schools and provide suitable and timely assistance. The floor is now open for questions. So if you want to ask questions, please raise your hand, and when you are called, please introduce the media outlet you represent and use the mic when you speak. We have many journalists here, so please limit yourselves to just 2 questions. Front row, this one not wearing glasses. I'm from Cable. Good afternoon. My first question is this, about Red Hill Peninsula. Can you tell us the latest situation? Is there any risk? As for the detached house, unauthorized building works involved, will the government consider initiating prosecution? As for repair works, can you tell us your thoughts at this moment? Now, there are serious consequences of this extreme weather incident. And Ms. Alice Mack, you mentioned some charity funds. Will the government provide subsidies, grants, or financial assistance to the stores, shop operators affected? Has the government sought any understanding of the amount of losses involved? Will the government provide assistance in helping file claims? I will invite the Secretary for Development to answer the first question and Ms. Alice Mack for the second question. As for the landslip at Red Hill Peninsula, as far as we know, at this moment, 3 detached houses are affected. Now, in response to media inquiries, the Buildings Department already explained that out of the 3 detached houses, 1 has been assessed by the department as having a risk. We have issued an order to evacuate the residents. Now, as you can see, there are scaffoldings outside this house since renovation works are ongoing, and they have been evacuated. As for the other 2 detached houses, there are parts where there are risks, such as the outdoor swimming pool and the garden. They have been fenced off, and the residents should not enter these closed-off areas. As for repairs, the owner should be responsible for any renovation works needed. The house is situated on top of a government slope, which is the subject of the landslide incident. The government, therefore, has arranged for a contractor to come in and repair the slope. At the first stage, cement will be sprayed to stabilize the slope. We'll strive to complete this task in the coming few days. Now, just now, this journalist asks whether unauthorized building works are involved or whether there is any breach of lease conditions. Now, on a preliminary basis, we find evidence of this nature for one of the detached houses. But at this juncture, we must accord priority to stabilizing the slope and ensuring public safety. And we will, of course, take follow-up action afterwards. You mentioned loss claims to be filed by shop operators. I think that this is more related to insurance claims. Now, these shop operators may have taken out different insurance policies, and they should file claims based on the policies concerned. Now, at the district level, I believe that some professionals or professional organizations will be providing professional advice free of charge. So I believe that some professionals in the community will be providing advice to them. I want to also add to the point about unauthorized building works. We will take rigorous enforcement action against unauthorized building works. It is apparent that unauthorized building works and cause danger not only to the residents living in the structure but also residents nearby. We attach great importance to that. Next question, this one at the back. I'm from Hong Kong 01. Still on Red Hill Peninsula. Now, you mentioned that enforcement action will be taken afterwards. May I know the current situation regarding House 72? Is that the one suspected of having unauthorized building works? According to our record in 2001, an encumbrance was imposed in the for this property. It was later discharged in 2007. May I know the latest situation about legal structure there? Now, for these luxury homes, they are close to slopes. Has the government been inspecting these houses? Or is it that it's very difficult to inspect these luxury homes and hence nobody noticed that the house has actually been occupying the government land. And because from the pictures we see this happening, does it affect the ability of the slope to cope with extreme weather? Now, 2 days ago, we mentioned the $150 million emergency alert system. As mentioned by some Legislative Council members, this system should be evoked to send SMS to members of the public to warn them. Now, Chief Secretary, may I know whether you have any thoughts on using this system?
First, the CS. First, the Secretary for Development, and then the CS. Now, the question is about the Red Hill Peninsula. I think illegal works mainly involve house number 72. Whether the other houses affected, I have yet to ascertain. And the reporter asked me about information dated back to a few years ago. I'm afraid I don't have the details with me now. I hope you understand that the urgent task at hand is to stabilize and deal with the slope first. As mentioned by the CS, any violation will be followed up. And whether it is difficult to inspect these places during ordinary times, now for illegal occupation of government land and illegal building structures on private developments, the government always adopts a risk-based approach in carrying out inspections. After that, there is a more effective way and also focused use of resources. The speakers of mic. As regards the impact of the illegal building works on the current situation, we will ask the professional departments to assess. Nevertheless, we have to address the current emergency first. CS, Deputy CS, the emergency alert system is to provide emergency information to members of the public. At 11 p.m., the black rainstorm warning was issued. Members of the public should have noted the torrential rain. No matter whether the government has issued the black rainstorm warning or not, as well as the flooding that was happening in different districts. Both were widely reported and then also circulated among social platforms. When the black rainstorm warning would be off, or how long will it stay, members of the public should have already received information of the heavy rainfall. As the Chief Executive mentioned before, our system of issuing warning has been established and well proven. The speaker is off mic. The speaker is not speaking into a microphone. If you look at our reports or briefings to the LegCo, or according to our press releases, the EAS can be used to provide alerts of natural disaster. But that doesn't mean that in all cases of extreme weather or emergency we have to use the EAS. Every time we will have to act according to the actual situation. Next, the reporter in green.
TMHK. So first of all, about the Shack-O evacuation arrangements, well, what could have been done better and what will be done to prevent similar incidents from happening? Like as some Shack-O residents have mentioned, they are not aware of the evacuation plan. And secondly, on the landslides in Red Hill Peninsula, what's the latest assessment and what are the follow-up actions? Is there an authorized construction involved, and what will the government make prosecutions? And finally, will authorities provide insurance and subsidy for shops affected by the floods, and in what ways if they would? Thank you.
OK， 或者第一條問題請保安局局長啦，第二條問題都係凌局長，第三條請麥美娟局長。
All right, the secretaries will take these questions.
Actually, in the morning, before there's an evacuation of the station, starting from the morning, we are transporting daily necessity and also the communication equipment and also emergency construction officers and also our care team to go inside Sheko to provide the necessary service. And in fact, I understand that the district officer has maintained close liaison with local villages as well as their representative to understand the situation. So once a decision has been made for the evacuation, and our fire department and police department has immediately set up a temporary pontoon for the evacuation of the residents. And as I understand that, the communication between our government officials, the village representative, and actually the residents are good for those who need to be evacuated, and they are all being arranged.
Regarding the case in the Red Hill Peninsula, relevant departments have inspected the slope with that landslide. And currently, our assessment is that that landslide has affected 3 houses sitting on that slope. And among the 3, one has imminent danger and so has been evacuated last evening. As a follow-up action, the relevant departments responsible for maintaining that government slope will do emergency works, first of all, to stabilize the slope. And then when circumstances permit, will allow the relevant residents to get back to that house under that evacuation arrangement. As to the question regarding whether there is unauthorized building structures or unlawful occupation of government land, our initial evidence shows that there is indeed some breach of the leases and also unlawful occupation. But our primary focus at the present moment is to stabilize the slope to ensure public safety. And once that is done, we will proceed with the necessary enforcement against the relevant breaches.
For the relief funds, in fact, as we have already, the government has already issued a press release introducing various relief funds under the government to help the needy. And we understand the concern of those affected villagers and residents. So various bureaus will deploy extra manpower to help the affected villagers and residents to apply for these relief funds and to speed up the processing.
Next, the lady in the front. Good afternoon, I'm from TVB. For Red Hill Peninsula, we were just told that there was a suspected illegal building works. Was that the cause of the landslip? Will the owner of the house be required to compensate, and will there be any penalty? Yesterday, there was an evacuation operation for Sheko, and then traffic was resumed immediately afterwards. Was there enough support from the government, and also very few residents moved into the government's temporary shelter? So was it really not the support they needed? The Secretary for Development has already explained that by visual inspection, there seems to be an illegal building structure there, but we will deal with the slope first. Any illegal structure will be enforced, and then we need our professional officers to check before we can have more accurate assessment as to whether that has caused a landslip. Yesterday, as soon as we were aware of the incident, in the first instance, we've asked our highways department staff to work ceaselessly so that the road could be reopened as soon as possible. Staff from the district office as well as care teams went in to assist the villages. Some were willing to evacuate, and at once we asked the Security Bureau to make it possible for them to leave. According to their wish, there were villagers who didn't want to leave, and we respected their decision. What the government had to do was to ensure that they had supply of water, power and food. So we immediately sent people to repair the power facilities, and it was resumed very quickly. And we asked the police and fire services department to transport water and food to assist the stranded villages. The road was reopened for one lane very soon. That has allowed traffic in and out of Sheko. At 6 a.m. this morning, we resumed public bus services. All this were done to assist villages so that they would not be stranded there. We want them to resume their normal living as soon as possible. So different departments have worked together. If you ask the villagers there, they will tell you that they have seen people wearing uniform working there. So I'm pleased to see that by and large they have resumed communication with the rest of the community. We are pleased that within a very short period of time we're able to resume normalcy for the villages there. We are pleased to see that.
Next question on the right-hand side. In the front, this reporter, I'm from News. I have two questions. First, according to weather forecast, in the coming week, there could be heavy downpours. Now, will the government departments carry out follow-up work to prevent flooding from happening again? Another question is, in order to minimize inconvenience cost to the members of the public, the government has proactively taken emergency repair works. So in the future, how do you make sure that labor rights will be safeguarded? About the weather, Mr. Chair, Secretary for the Environment and Ecology can take this question. In the southern part of Hong Kong at the moment, it is still prone to rainfall. That means there is a high chance that heavy downpours will happen. But we believe that starting from Tuesday and Wednesday next week, weather should improve. Meanwhile, the public should stay vigilant. Now, to take the other question, of course, we wouldn't want anything like this to happen again. But as explained, the probability of this happening is once in 500 years. So that is not a very high probability. Of course, we won't want this to happen again. But when it comes to natural disasters and typhoons, we have different systems. Say we have different typhoon signals, different rainstorm warnings, and recently we've introduced the extreme weather arrangements. And if we make this announcement, it will be equivalent to hoisting a typhoon number 8 signal. So after this incident, since this the heavy downpours came very suddenly, is of an unexpected magnitude. So we are unable to give precise predictions, scientifically speaking. Now, at midnight of the 8th of September, the chief executive issued a press release or a post reminding members of the public to be careful. And at about 2 a.m., the government also issued a warning reminding members of the public to be vigilant. And then before 6 a.m., we decided whether we had to decide whether an extreme weather was actually happening, and then we made this decision at about 7 a.m. The Labor Department issued another press release reminding employers of the relevant work arrangements with employees. So as far as our mechanism is concerned, we find sufficient safeguards for our employees. And in fact, majority of employees did not go to work that day, save for some offices, such as discipline services. those in our hospital facilities. These are special cases, and these people were required to work, but then we reminded employers to make sure that the employees would be safe. We have an effective, well-established mechanism to ensure the safety of employees. And for typhoon signal number 8 and black rainstorm warning signals, these are very familiar to the public. All in all, if we've taken every precaution to protect the lives and property of our public, we will do so. In the interest of time, we'll take 2 more questions. This lady in front, in green. I'm from Singtao Daily. Good afternoon. The first question is this. Do you keep count of the economic loss caused by this incident, especially regarding agriculture in the northern New Territories? Some farms have experienced difficulties. Another question is this: regarding cross-boundary students, how many students will be following the temporary traffic arrangements? Now, we have not made an estimate of the overall economic losses. Regarding the agricultural sector, I'll defer to the Secretary for Environment and Ecology. Now, we have yet to come up with an accurate estimate. The AFCD is in the process of contacting the affected farmers and fishermen. For those suffering losses, if need be, they can make applications with the AFCD. We have relief funds or grants and loans for them. Cross-boundary students, Mr. C, Acting Secretary for Education. Regarding cross-boundary students, as mentioned just now, Liantang, Hengyun Wai, and Mankamto BCPs will continue to be suspended. Some school coaches will need to take a detour to use other BCPs such as Huanggang. 13 school coaches with 325 cross-boundary students on board will need to adopt these arrangements. The Education Bureau will continue to liaise with the relevant schools, and we understand that these schools have told all the affected students and parents of the latest arrangements. Right, we'll take one more. I'm from Now TV. Good afternoon. You mentioned some emergency relief funds for affected residents. What about shop owners? Will there be any proactive assistance on the part of the government instead of relying on filing insurance claims? About Red Hill Peninsula, there is evidence of unauthorized building works. Will there be investigation into UBWs in other areas around the slope, affecting the slope? Ms. Mack will take the first question. Ms. Ling will take the second one. We have various relief funds. We have government ones, and we have those from other charitable organizations to provide assistance to residents affected by the torrential rain.